It's 2 o'clock. I'm Olive Martini, and this is the Working on Wellness Radio Forum. And my guest today is Jay Fields. He is a level 3 Tai Chi instructor. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about, let me talk a little bit about what you do. You have coached disadvantaged children and taught race relations, communications, and management skills. You've been teaching Tai Chi for the past 20 years at community colleges and at the Shipley Center. So tell us a little bit about Tai Chi. What got you interested in that?
I was really interested in Eastern religion and came across Tai Chi.
I'm going to have you come a little bit closer. There you go.
And I had different teachers. The first teacher I had was a retired art teacher, and she was really fun to play with because there was no rules. You just kind of danced along and everybody moved and it was real fun. And one time we were all trying to follow her and she went dancing 3 or 4 steps to the side and we didn't know what form she was doing. And she said, well, I couldn't see over there, but I think there's some deer in the woods over there, so I wanted to see them. It's not part of the form, so don't worry. And I had some teachers who were very strict, very traditional, to hold your hand in a certain way, to breathe in a certain way, to move in a certain way. And then I discovered this man. His last name is Wong, first name is Sun Liang. And because people couldn't pronounce his name very well, he said, well, you can call me Al.
We have a song like that. You can call me Al.
That's right. And he's considered to be a master both in China and the U.S. But he's also a dancer. He taught dance at UCLA and also at Illinois University. And originally was from China, raised in Taiwan, came to the United States. And a wonderful teacher, wonderful man. So that's who I've spent the last 30 or 40 years studying with.
And so who is Tai Chi for?
Tai Chi's for everybody. There are actually books and actual forms for Tai Chi in a chair. And I think Tai Chi is for a belonging in the body. So the movements belong and you belong. But saying, oh yeah, I love my body. I belong in my body. I feel my body. So in the classes, we start sitting down. And I give them a guided visualization that they go through their bodies and touch each part, become aware of it, see how it's doing, what it's feeling, what's going on. And then we move a little bit and do some balancing. Also some stretching, moving, stretching. And then finally we get into the various movements, the various Qigong that we use.
And so you're not too concerned about hand placement and that kind of thing, but to feel the movement?
More to feel the movement. Yeah, traditionally it's very important about how high your hand is, where it is, what's going on. But it's more just really enjoying the body, really being in the body and belonging. One of the students said to me, this is kind of like a kindergarten class. I want a blanket and a pillow halfway through.
It's relaxing.
It's relaxing. It's relaxing for me, and a lot of people said it's very relaxing for them. And they can take the stuff that we learn, such as the visualization through the body, and use it to go to sleep at night, and use it in other ways. So we do movement, but there's also quite a bit on balance. A lot of doctors send people to Tai Chi for balance. And the thing about balance is it involves the whole body. It's eyes, it's your mind, it's even ears because the inner ear is involved. And so the more you practice being in balance, the better your balance becomes.
So what's the most useful time to do Tai Chi? Morning or evening?
Anytime, actually. If you're a morning person, practice in the morning. And simple practices, simple Qigong. Tai Chi is made up of a series of Qigongs.
And explain what that is.
Qi is life force energy. Gong has been translated as various things, such as practice, form, energy, placement. So it's feeling the energy of the body. And we talk some about, for me, it's amazing that the Chinese knew that the universe was composed of energy thousands of years ago, maybe even 7,000. And they say qi is life force. And that's what we want to move through the body, is that life force.
So one of my questions here for you is, what is Tai Chi?
Excuse me. Tai Chi is a series of Qigong movements, and there's different forms of Tai Chi. There's a Yang form, there's a Wu form, and the Yang and Yang form is probably the most popular in the United States. There's a Su form, a Wu form, a Wu Dong form. So they take different Qigongs, put them together, and make a series of movements out of that. And so that's called Tai Chi.
And so each of those movements, how long is the process? Do you do a certain amount of time, or is it a certain amount of movements to get through?
It's a certain amount of movements. It's a certain amount of movements, and some are very short and very quick. Some are longer and involve more movement and a series of movements. And the ones that are very short often are Yang forms, very, very forceful, very punctual, very strong. And there's also Yin forms that are very floating and very soft.
Oh, I'm going to play this next song. This is one that you chose. We're not sure how to pronounce it, but you said you loved it very much.
I do.
And so we're going to play that, and then our time together today is being recorded, and we are also going to do a video. And so while this song is playing, I'd like for you to stand and do some of those movements so that when this goes up on the website, people will be able to see a little bit of the Tai Chi that you're doing.
Okay.
Okay. what I was interested in is that they're very flowing. You're not too concerned about hand placement and that kind of thing. You tell us a little bit about the dance.
Most of it is about feeling in the body and awareness. And there's different times you can do the forms different ways, depending on the music. And one of the things that I give people homework for is to take 3 pieces of music, put them on, and just let your body move the way it wants. See what your body wants to do with them. Some are very strong. I also sometimes in the class put on the House of New Orleans from the Animals. And for most of the people in the class, they're seniors, and they have a relationship to that. And it creates a lot of energy and a lot of fast movement and a lot of energy and excitement. This was mainly slow. Following that rhythm, following what it does to my body is very easy.
And when is Tai Chi useful?
I think all the time. I do. I mean, you can do it in a wheelchair. I plan, if I end up in a wheelchair, to still be doing Tai Chi because I can still move parts of my body. And that connection to the body, it's like, I think the thing we need most in the world is belonging. Belonging to our bodies, belonging to the earth, belonging to that. And so I think it's a practice of belonging for me.
And so you teach at the Shipley Center. Tell us a little bit about those classes and when they are and how long they are. And do you just come as you are?
Yeah, you want to wear, it's at the Shipley Center, and you want to wear comfortable clothing. It's Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock from 10 to 11, about an hour. And as I said, we start out sitting, and then we do a little bit of balance, a little bit of loosening the body, and then we go into the Qigong and the forms. And then on Thursday from 9:30 to 10:15, we do only 45 minutes then, but it's good to just move with it. And we have a couple of seniors that are in their 90s who come and move. So I think you can do it all your life.
So why should you practice Tai Chi? Does the movement kind of gets into your muscle memory, and that you're as you're moving and you're doing those kinds of things, it kind of loosens you up and.
Exactly. I mean, it's a way of moving. I mean, I watch some people here every so often. I'll see some people walking with their shoulders forward, their back arch, and they're not in their frame. They're not resting on their skeleton. And that's part of what Tai Chi is about, is posture and movement and awareness of how you're moving. So instead of, I have to remind myself, shoulders up, down, back, lifting from the hips, not, keeps my back straight, keeps my body straight. And so it's a very simple thing, but it's a consistent thing that I need to do. And I see a lot of people who need to do that too.
Just that movement and that slow, deliberate movement kind of keeps your mind and your body kind of working together.
Right, and your breath, it's breath and movement and mind and imagination. Some of the movements you can tell a whole story with. And the Qigong that we put together for the first circle, Master Wong has 5 circles, and the first circle is called the Hero's Journey. He worked with Alan Watts and Joseph Campbell in terms of mythology and developing the circles. And so there's a going out on the hero's journey and coming back home. So you can tell yourself a story. When you open a door, what are you opening into? What is there? And I talk about the door I love to open is to my grandmother's kitchen, because there's fresh baked bread, there's raspberries, there's cream, and there's grandma. So how does that make your body feel if you picture being in grandma's kitchen? as you're moving.
And do that movement right now for us so that we can kind of see when you're opening the door.
When you open the door, it's like, sometimes it's called white crane spreads its wings, where you think about in Vietnam, there's 10-foot tall white cranes and how beautiful and how, so I become a white crane. So it's all the parts. It's breath, awareness, visualization, imagination, and it fits all in the body because it creates the energy.
So I've run out of questions for you. Let's talk a little bit about...
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Let's talk a little bit about how long you've been doing it and your favorite movement.
I've been doing it with Master Wong, I've been doing it for almost 40 years. And I started before that with different teachers. Some I didn't like because they were too restrictive for me, that I had to have my hand turned in a certain way to a certain degree, dressed in that. This is a dance with life. So it's what your body says, oh, I want to dance this way, and learning new movements and just that gentle flow. That's what I love about it, is that flow.
So when you're teaching, how many movements do you try to, do you do it the same over a period of time so that people can kind of learn those movements and then move on?
We start out with a lot of just simple Qigong. Simple Qigong, such as letting go. It's a favorite one. You lift your arms up, go out, get a hold of what you want to let go of, really stretch it out, and look at what you want to let go of, and then just let it go. And it's one I do at night because I don't know about other people, but for me, I'm sometimes bothered by what's going on politically, so I want to let go of some things. So I go up, breathe out, follow my breath, stretch that out, and just let it go. And doing that 9 or 10 times really helps me to say, is there any there still? Oh, I better do it another one. And let it go. So, and the guided visualization we do, some people said, I use that now to go to sleep at night. So I go through my body and relax my whole body. And I think that's part of it, is a real awareness of what's going on in the body for Tai Chi.
So talk a little bit about how people can use Tai Chi to kind of relax at the end of the day and really let that stress out of their body. Do you do that? Do you tell your students when you're laying down, you kind of go through each body part, starting like with your toes, or how does that work?
Well, when we start out, I have them sitting in chairs, and we put the chairs, after we're finished with the chairs, we put them around the room, and I encourage anybody to sit down if they need to. This isn't a contest. Nobody's winning. Nobody gets a grade. And so you have this chair that if you need it, you sit in it. But we start from the toes and go all the way through the body, touching each part, seeing how it's doing, and releasing parts that are maybe not doing so well. So that's something to do at night. The letting go is something to do at night, too. In the morning, there are certain stretching movements that you can do, pushing the clouds, pushing the sky, holding the earth, so that you begin to stretch all those movements.
And that process takes as long as you like, or do you do it for a certain amount of time, or?
It depends on the individual.
How you're feeling?
How you're feeling and how fast you want to go. I went fairly slow based on the music. But you could put on fast music and go really fast. And it's a dancing with it. And it's a dancing with that whole. So there aren't really a lot of rules. And
I like that there aren't a lot of rules.
That's what I like, too, is it? Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about your teacher. Is he here?
He's in, right now he's 87, I think, 88. He's in Illinois. He lives in Illinois, where he taught at the college. And he has workshops all over the world. He's taught in Europe. He taught in Hawaii. He has a place down in Gold Beach that he taught quite often at. And he just loves to dance. He just loves the dance. And he's performed, when he was young, he performed in a Hollywood movie with dancing. So
Which one was that?
I don't remember the name. It was one that's not well known. He was also one of the background characters, and but yeah.
Well, I think Tai Chi is beautiful when it's done, and then there's all kinds of movement that are pretty. Mm-hmm. So when you're sitting down and you're teaching your class for those people that need to be seated, is there any leg movement, or is it all kind of shoulders and arms and?
Oh, equal balance. We spend a lot of time with heel turns.
Okay.
And working on that kind of thing with heel turns.
Okay.
And working on where your feet are, how you're turning. Heel turns are much different than toe turns, and you're shifting your weight in a different way. So we spend most of the time standing, but if people need to sit, they sit. And that's okay too, because you still got the arm movement, you still lift your legs. Mm-hmm. So this
would work for wheelchair bound and...
Wheelchair bound. I plan to do it all my life. Mm-hmm. Yeah, even if I am in a wheelchair. And just slow down, because I've slowed down some. One of the first teachers I had, we learned the Yang form, a very martial art Yang form. And then we put on body armor and used it against each other. It hurt. It hurt a lot. And I thought, well, I don't know if I like this or not. So it depends upon the teacher, it depends upon the form, it depends upon how it's taught, and it's different for different people. Some people really want the very aggressive, very martial art form, mm-hmm. and it can be used as a martial art.
When my husband and I lived in Canada, there was a group of people that did Tai Chi in the morning when we were leaving for work, and they did it with swords, mm-hmm. and it was just beautifully choreographed. It was very pretty. We used to sit and watch it before we would leave for work.
It is beautiful, mm-hmm. and there's also fan forms, and cane forms, and stick forms, and all of those, all different types of forms. But yeah, it's very beautiful to watch a whole group of people, especially with fan forms, because it flies up and back and closing and snap.
And when in your classes, do you have people, you're in a circle? Yes?
In a circle is really kind of more difficult, because what people want to watch is what your feet are doing, what your hands are doing.
So you kind of line up so that people can see.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And it helps if you have a mirror so they can see both front and back. I have a couple of students that have been with me for quite a while, and so they face one way and I face the other way, and so people can see both foot movement and hand movement.
I see. Talk a little bit about how Tai Chi can help with falls, to avoid falling.
The demographics in SQM are seniors. And in terms of falling, most falls occur when we're changing direction or not aware of what we're walking or that. Also, how we hold our body. If you're leaning your head forward and walking forward, you're adding more weight to the neck and more out of balance. So there are specific exercises for balance that you can do. They're very simple, very good. And you want to train your body to be in balance, to say this is what balance feels like. Part of the thing about balance is it's all the body, eyes, ears, feet, awareness. So that working with that some, not just with Tai Chi, because Tai Chi, you're forced to look at where's my weight? Where's my weight shifting? Where's my foot going? How far am I turning? Where am I turning? What's going on with my movement? But just practicing, maybe standing on one foot a little bit with your hand on a counter if that's hard, but getting more and more time with balance.
So when you're doing these exercises, you're very present in where you are, how you're moving. Tell me what goes on in your mind as you're doing these things.
Part of it is creating visualizations for me. Part of it is also an awareness of what my body's doing. If I move an arm movement, how's my elbow responding? Is it involved at all? Or am I keeping it down? What am I doing with my body? Especially we talk about two rules. One is that your knees don't go beyond your toes.
Okay.
And wherever your toes go, your knee goes. Because if your toes go out and your knee stays in, then you've put all your weight on your knee, and that can cause problems. But it's also an awareness of how you're moving, where you're moving, what's going on. So if you change direction, you're realizing that you've moved in a different direction and what the body's going to respond to.
Well, it's almost quarter till. Let's do the afternoon weather forecast, made possible through the support of All Weather Heating and Cooling. The National Weather Service says this afternoon will be partly sunny with a high near 45. Cloudy tonight, rain is likely, mainly after 2 a.m. Chance of precipitation is 60% with a low around 32. Mostly cloudy on Thursday, rain is likely, mainly before 8 a.m., high near 42. Mostly sunny on Friday, a 10% chance of rain after 4 p.m. and a high around 48. Mostly cloudy on Saturday, a chance of rain, high near 50. Mostly cloudy Sunday, a chance of rain, high 49. Mostly cloudy Monday, Washington's birthday, with a high of 50. And mostly cloudy on Tuesday, a slight chance of rain, and 51. A small craft advisory is in effect for the waters of the Strait of Juan de Fuca until 4 a.m. Friday morning. Northwest winds 15 to 30 knots. This afternoon's weather forecast is a service of the KSQM News Center, made possible through the support of All Weather Heating and Cooling. So when it's rainy outside and you're doing your Tai Chi, helps you keep from falling down, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think, it's just an awareness that says, okay, I need to be aware of how I'm moving my feet, how my body is. What's going on with my neck, you know? Do I need to loosen it, or do I need to bring it up a little bit more, or see how, when I move, how do I balance to that and adjust to that?
And so you're teaching at the Shipley Center, and you were talking about how your classes line up to do these exercises. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I have 2 students that have been with me for quite a while. So what we do is to divide the class in half on one side and half on the other. We're in the big ballroom area. And they face one way and I face the other way, so people get to see foot movement and hand movement. But the emphasis, again, is on where's your balance? I mean, I may do a complete whole turn with two foot turns, but maybe somebody else can't do that. So you need to know, okay, I need to do a heel turn and step and a heel turn and step and then move forward. So it's a real awareness of how your body is organized, how you organize your movements.
And for those students that are seated, what do you do there?
We do a lot of arm movements. There's arms as well as foot movements all the way through. But for them, they just worry about where their body's moving, how they can shift their weight in the chair, how they can move in the chair, how they can move their arms. And I really encourage people to listen to their body and say, okay, I'm getting a little tired now. I'm going to sit down. It's okay.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, well, I'm a strong man. I should be able to do this,
So the movements are gentle and flowing.
I try to make it, most of them moving and gentle, but sometimes we get a little crazy. We put on something like The House of New Orleans by the Animals and just move crazy. Not worry about doing it correctly, and not worrying about where the flow is, not worrying about, but it's also that awareness. So if you move your hand, do you feel the air going through between your fingers if your fingers are apart? Are you aware of what's around you and how it's moving? And those people who say, well, I can't feel it, I say, well, blow on your hand, and then you'll know what the air feels like as it moves through between your fingers.
So as you're moving, you want to be present?
Continually, yes. Present to your body, present to what's going on with the body, and present to how it feels.
KSQM time is 11 minutes to 3. My guest this afternoon for the Working on Wellness Radio Forum is Jay Fields, who is a level 3 Tai Chi instructor. We've been talking about how Tai Chi is like a dance of life, develops a life force as a moving meditation, and talk to us a little bit about body awareness and how people should try and just move their bodies without worrying too much about what they look like, how they move.
Ideally, that's it. I mean, I got a chance to teach Tai Chi to 3.5-year-olds, 4-year-olds, that age group, 2.5 to 4.5. They love it. They love it. They go crazy because it's this permission to move wherever their body wants to go and whatever it wants to do. And it's a dance. And dancing is kind of like art. I think it was Picasso that said, every child is an artist. The trick is staying as you grow older. And I think it's the same with dance. The first time somebody laughs at you for the way you're moving, it stops you from dancing. And so it's opening up to that possibility that, hey, I can move in different ways. I can actually be aware of how my movements are and expand them and say, what would happen if I danced or hopped on one leg? And I kind of like the Monty Python group when they had that Bureau of Silly Movements. So just practicing, just being silly is okay. Because it's a different way of moving and saying to your body, how does this feel? I don't like it so much. Also, putting on a piece of classical music, taking a small stick or a toothpick or something and conducting it. Conductors live a long time because they're moving with the music and they're moving their bodies in so many different ways.
That is a very good point, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming in and talking about Tai Chi. I've learned that it doesn't have to be perfect.
No. No.
And as long as you're moving and you're comfortable in your body and you're aware of what's going on, you're teaching at the Shipley Center 2 days a week. So I would suggest that if you're interested in that kind of thing, where Tai Chi isn't so much you have to do it this way, it's more of a practice that gets you moving.
Right.
So the Working on Wellness Radio Forum is the second Wednesday of the month, and it's provided by the Dungeness Valley Health and Wellness Clinic. This is SQM's free clinic, and the clinic provides basic urgent care and chronic care health services to uninsured community members, and they are open Monday and Thursday afternoons at 4:30. Jay, thank you so much for coming in. I certainly enjoyed it.